The award-winning Tennessee WildCast is on the air with the latest on hunting, fishing, boating, wildlife watching, and all things outdoors. Make welcome your host, drummer and outdoor expert novice, Jason Harmon.
Okay, guys, I appreciate you being with us today. This is a new endeavor here, doing a Zoom via WildCast. I appreciate you guys joining me. We got folks from all across the state, so it's going to be a fun show. I've also got Don co-hosting with me from his back porch there. Don, how's it going?
Hey, going pretty well, Jason. Appreciate it. Yeah, I got outside here on the back porch, and it's not quite as scenic as the other guys, but I'll do my best to keep up. Hey, I do want to show off my new find here. This is the new hat you can get at GoOutdoorsTennessee.com. You make a license purchase, or if you just want to go there and get the hat, there's a way you can just go get the hat. But it's a $20 donation, and it's this fills the gap of the I call it the winter hat that we offered a while back that I've been wearing. And anyway, this is the spring and summer version of it. So anyway, it's out there and available as of this past weekend, from what I understand.
Awesome. That's good to hear. Good to hear. I knew they were going to be on the market soon, and so they're out there. So, Don, you've been into the office a few times since this pandemic kind of hit. Our offices are closed, but you've been in a few times to do a few things. What's operations looking like now that we've kind of closed the doors to the public right now?
Right. We're still working and helping the public. We've got 3 ladies running the frontline phones: Cindy, Juliana, and Claire. They've picked up their duties that they would normally be doing, from their workstation at the headquarters, and they're doing it from their home office. So they've adapted, and our IT folks have outfitted them with the equipment they need to be able to answer the phones and take those calls. And some of the questions that require a certain kind of expertise, where they would normally forward you to licensing or forward you to the boating division, they're doing the best they can. But for right now, if you need help, dial that front number 781-6500, and you'll get some help during normal business hours. So kind of that's how we're working it right now, and a lot of us are working from home. I'm doing the same, and I know I haven't seen you for 2 weeks now face to face, so it's good to see you today.
Yeah, it's good to see all these guys on the screen, all their faces. I'm gonna go back to grid view. Hopefully y'all can see that at home. Fishing is wide open. Turkey hunting is wide open. The outdoors are open. So first, I want to start with Frank. Frank's our chief of fisheries, and just jump into it. Frank, how have you been doing? How are you adapting to this new schedule, and been out fishing any at all or anything like that?
Yeah, Jason, I've been able to get out a few times, and the schedule's it's really a bizarre schedule to have. We're still doing a lot of work from the house. I'm still working on Asian carp. There's a lot of national committee stuff that I'm working on to move some projects forward there. But when I have had a chance to get out, I've been coming to the lake, trying to stay local with my trips. But I've been coming to Priest Lake because I live in Nashville, and it's been pretty good fishing so far. I haven't been killing them yet, but it's been okay. So I'm out here today trying to bring the lake to some people that might see this.
Awesome. So your crews are still out in the field working. Some are at home. Tell us kind of how you've adapted the regional folks and the regional crews to continue working and keep doing what we do.
Yeah, everyone understands that there are, we've got to follow the guidelines for our safety and the safety of others. Fortunately for us, our work groups are fairly small, but they're spread out across the state. So we're talking about 3 to 4 people at times in a very small area. So there are opportunities in a small office setting, but there's plenty of room for them to spread out once they get to work. We're driving in separate vehicles. If we need to go to the lake, we're limiting it to 2 people per boat to keep the distance. And our hatchery staff is very busy this time of year. and they've been able to continue the work that they need to do so that we have fish to stock later this year, so we have fish to catch in 2 years by the time them fish grow up. Our hatchery staff are, we're all biologists, so we understand viruses and contamination issues. We've got a lot of good protocols in place anyway to protect fish, so we obviously step that up and protect ourselves in those situations.
So that's good to hear. I'm glad you were able to get out and do a little fishing. You said before we started the call, you said you saw some gizzard shad there at the Elm Creek.
Yeah, I just came out here to get on the shoreline to maybe catch a fish or two, but which I didn't do. But it was interesting. The gizzard shad were up real shallow, spawning right now, and it's I was surprised. I guess not surprised to see them. I know they spawn every year, but you don't always just walk up on 100 gizzard shad in 3 inches of water. So that made me think, there's got to be hybrids or bass right here tracking all this. But if they were, I couldn't catch them.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you trying to bring the outdoors to us and going out there and shooting from the shore. Maybe you can catch one if we lose you, if the signal drops or something. Go catch a fish for all of us. How does that sound?
All right.
I want to go down the list. We got guys from all across the state with us today, and I want to start with Tim. Tim's in West Tennessee. He's a regional fisheries program manager there. And Tim, what's West Tennessee looking like? How's the fishing? What are your crews up to right now? And just give us an update.
Well, like Frank said, we're all taking this virus very seriously. We're practicing social distancing. We're working in very small crews. When we are together, we maintain our distance. And Hunter Henley and Tom Pratt have a real good safety plan for the hatchery. And again, we're just taking it serious, doing the best we can. The fishing depends on where you're at. Reelfoot State Park closed several ramps around Reelfoot, so some of the basins are inaccessible unless you want to run a long way, but fishing's kind of slow, pressure's down. Kentucky Reservoir they're catching a lot of crappie. Bass fishing's really good, and it's picking up quite a bit, and pressure is unbelievable because the state park closed the Paris landing ramp, so that focuses other people at other ramps. So it's a situation where parking's limited. You better get there early to get a parking spot because fishing is that good on the Big Sandy. The state lakes, the same thing. Several, Glen Springs, Herb, and David Crockett all doubled their sales in March from last year. So people are getting out doing fishing and enjoying the outdoors. And from what my creel clerks say, they are practicing social distancing while they're fishing and while they're putting in and out of their boat ramp. So people are aware. People are doing the best they can. But fishing's not bad right now, considering how early it really is.
Well, one other thing I wanted to touch on with you is you've got this hatchery out in West Tennessee where they're growing some largemouth. Talk about that a little bit. How's that going? Are we seeing some production?
We have a Florida Largemouth Bass building that's been in production now for, I think this is the third year. And this is our best year ever because they've already raised 700,000 fry. They need 400,000 more to meet their quota. They'll be moving those fry to the ponds, and the ponds are warming up well because of the weather. So they'll be able to get that done. And they're really excited about how well they've done with their Florida Largemouth Bass program.
All right, awesome. And I want to remind folks that the hatcheries are closed to the public. We are still working. Our guys are still out there trying to do their thing. And thank you, Tim. I appreciate it. And
no, you're welcome. Yeah,
get cut off. Thanks for being with us. Let's jump on to Jolly. Mike Jolly. He's up on the plateau, works out of a Region 3 office. He's a reservoir biologist, and we appreciate him joining us today. How's it going, Mike?
It's going great. Beautiful day. Good day to be outside.
Yeah, it looks like you're in a good spot there.
Yeah, this is actually so I'm on Watts Bar Reservoir here, and I'm actually on a fishing pier that we were able to partner on last year. It's a really nice pier. Provides some really good fishing. We put a lot of fish attractors out from it, so just coming out and enjoying the scenery here, and also the opportunity, the place that we were able to partner in and help the public have a place to fish.
Have you caught any fish there yet?
No, not yet. So I hadn't wet a line yet this morning. So, but it does look pretty tempting as I see some of the fish swimming around some of the structure and stuff here.
Definitely. Well, tell us how your crews are adapting and what's going on out of the Region 3 office. I know you've got a lot of work on the plateau and then a lot of work on the Tennessee River and things like that. So what's going on with you guys? How y'all adapting to this?
Yeah, so we've been very conscientious, about the virus and the social distancing and all that. We've split our crews up, rotating some shifts out, keeping people apart. Our hatchery work right now has really probably given us the lion's share of work to do. So we were right in the middle of walleye spawning, so we were able to go out and get several brood fish in our Tennessee River system. Is from fish that we stocked years ago, taking those back to our hatchery there at Sugar Creek, able to spawn those out. The guys have really done a tremendous job with that. And just last week, the eggs had turned into the fry, which are those small hair-like little things that we call fish, So anyway, they were able to stock those in the ponds at the end of the week. And those will remain in there for 30 to 50 days or so until they grow up to a 1 or 2 inch fingerling size. And at that point, we'll extract them out and stock them into the reservoirs where they're destined to go. But that's been a lot of work for us right there. We've also been out doing some evaluations of some of our boat ramps, looking into some of our spring surveys that are coming up, figuring out how we're going to do that. We always electrofish for black bass in the spring, and just answering a lot of questions from the public on, phone calls, social media, and that kind of stuff. So staying busy.
How about we highlight a couple of the reservoirs in your area? What's Chickamauga looking like? There goes a boat. What's Chickamauga looking like these days?
Chickamauga, man, it continues to really be just a powerhouse for fisheries. And I know people, when they think of Chickamauga, they typically think of largemouth bass and the fishery there, and it is really good. A lot of double-digit bass, that were reported last year to us through different people. But that was a project started in 2000, so it's hard to believe. I've been in that process for about 20 years now. But Chickamauga also is very productive for crappie. Probably with a mild winter we had in early February, people were starting to display some really nice catches of crappie that they were catching. Upcoming will be some good bluegill, red ear fisheries down there, opportunity. But of course, the largemouth bass is still a big deal. A lot of the tournaments have been postponed because of the virus. So it's going to give opportunity for a lot of people to get down there that couldn't find a place at a boat ramp, I guess. But it's still been very crowded down there now, and a lot of people are going out taking advantage of the good fishing at Chickamauga.
That's pretty smart for folks to probably postpone those tournaments just because that's going to congregate a lot of people. Yes. That's a good move on those folks' part. You reminded me to just mention this, and we've said it, Tim even mentioned it. A lot of the ramps are closed. Some of the state park ramps are closed, but all our ramps that we manage are open. So just check our website, check our Facebook page, and call before you go for somewhere you can, a local office there or something, you can call and talk to somebody maybe and get a hold of somebody, make sure something's open if you're curious. How about Del Hollow? That's a big reservoir up there. How's fishing up there?
I tell you what, Del Hollow has been on fire for smallmouth, and people catching a lot of big smallmouth up there. Great numbers. The fish look great, good and healthy. The slot limit up there continues to really produce a lot of good fish in between that 16 and 21 inch range. A lot of people, there's a lot of congestion up there at the boat ramps. I understand from my creel clerk, just a lot of people from a lot of different places that are coming to fish. Crappie fishing has been really good now. A lot of people that are doing the spider rigging and stuff up there, which is kind of a new deal for Del Hollow. You don't see that a lot up there because of a lot of the fish that are caught there are deeper because of the water is more clear than a lot of other reservoirs. But they're enjoying really good success at Del Hollow right now. So would be another jewel of a place to go and fish right now as well.
Awesome. One other thing I wanted to touch on, and I know this isn't your wheelhouse, you're the reservoir guy, but Tellico and Sitico area, that's popular for folks to go fishing, and it's still great opportunities there. But people congregating, and Frank and I were talking about this the other day. Some of those areas are open to folks over 65, I think, and for kids under a certain age, and a good chance you could run your hand down a handrail or something, or touch something somebody else has touched. You got to be careful about going to these areas. But just what would you suggest for folks going maybe to Sitico or Tellico area to fish, and give them some pointers there if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure. I was able to talk to the hatchery manager at Tellico this morning, and he advised me that all of the stocking and fishing opportunities are still open there. The Forest Service that actually owns the land around there, they've shut down all the campgrounds and, the restroom areas, picnic areas, and those kind of things. But it is a good reminder that when we're out and in places where you do have an opportunity to touch that handrail, like this fishing pier that I'm on, or at a boat ramp with a courtesy dock, it is a good time to observe those guidelines that we have and, protect your hands and any kind of contaminants there. So, but fishing is still in action up there at the Tellico Sitco, and as their plans are, is to continue stocking and providing that opportunity right now.
Cool. Awesome. Well, one last thing. You went turkey hunting this weekend, didn't you?
I did.
Tell us how it went. I think you had some success, right?
It went great. So I had a good morning, had to work pretty hard for one, had to pull one away from a set of hens, but there was another gobbler with him, and he wanted to come check me out, and another hen wanted to come check me out even more, so he followed her right to me. So it was about a 3-hour hunt. So it was quite an adventure there. And what was really neat about it, Jason, I was using a call that my dad makes. He makes these wooden calls, and he had also killed one that morning about the same time I killed mine. So it's quite a family tradition we have there. My dad and I have always been able to hunt and fish together. He's really the one that encouraged me, promoted my love and passion that I have for the outdoors now, that led to the job I'm in today, and so it was very, very special as he and I got to share those stories, and just love being outdoors. Turkey hunting is absolutely one of my most favorite things to do. It's a beautiful time of the year, and when I had more energy, I would come home from turkey hunting and jump in a boat and go try to catch a limited crappie the same day. But now when you get through hunting hard for turkeys, you may just want to rest a little more.
I hear you. I'll share this. I went out, took my son this weekend, Saturday and Sunday morning both, and heard some gobblers, jumped some birds on Saturday, and then I seen an armadillo on Sunday. So that was the extent of my weekend.
Yeah. Well, things have changed, haven't they?
Yeah. It was kind of funny to see. But anyway, well, I appreciate you, Mike. Thanks for being with us if we lose it, and thanks for being here. And jump to Jim and see how things are going. Jim, thanks for jumping on here with us. Jim Habera, he's a fisheries guy in East Tennessee. Tell us what you do, Jim, and bring us up to date on how things are going on in the East Tennessee region.
Hey, Jason, I'm the Streams and Rivers Unit Coordinator here in Region 4. So my work group samples and manages all our cold water, warm water, cool water stream fisheries over here in East Tennessee. Right now, we're like everybody else in the state. We're staying busy, but most of our staff is working from home. The hatchery guys still have their duties at the hatcheries to keep those up and running. But we're trying to stay busy. We just finished up doing our annual trout fishery assessments on our tailwaters. We try to get all those done during the month of March, and ahead of those tailwater fisheries being stocked. We want to get that work done before we start dumping new fish in for the year. So we just got those finished up, and those tailwaters look really great. Kind of the downside is right now TVA has a lot of water to move. The reservoirs over here are the elevations of those reservoirs are above their guide curves where TVA would want them to be right now. So they're moving a lot of water, and it's hard to get to catch a day when the flow's down, when you can get out there and actually wade fish or bank fish. If you were going to float or get a boat out on those waters, you can do that. But right now, at least for the short term, it looks like there's a lot of water that they're needing to move through those systems.
Awesome. So when you mentioned tailwaters, it made me think of the new thing we have on our website, the tailwater fishing forecast. How is fishing looking other than the high water? What's folks going to catch these days? What are they looking at catching? Any suggestions on what to use or things like that?
This is springtime, so pretty much you've got a lot of things happening now. If you're a bait angler, that's going to work. Folks that like to spin fish with lures, whether at low flows when the water's down wading or drifting in a boat or canoe or something, that would work. And now, of course, now that we're into the spring season, you're going to have hatches coming off on a lot of these tailwaters, and that'll progress through the spring. So kind of everything. No matter what kind of trout angler you are, I think there's opportunity out there or just around the corner, for that.
Awesome. I took my son and family, daughter and wife this weekend, and we caught some on a little small pond, just tried to get away and do some fishing. So it's a good time to be out. It's not too hot right now, not too hot yet.
It is. And I would add that all the stocking over here in Region 4, our trout stocking is proceeding according to schedule. We haven't missed anything there. There are a couple places that we stock on state parks. There's Panther Creek State Park in Hamlin County, which, the state parks are closed right now. So that one, our staff from Buffalo Springs had literally just stocked that the day they closed it down. So the fish will be there waiting when they open back up. But right now you can't get into fishing. And then we do stock the Doe River through Roan Mountain State Park, but that is essentially still accessible. There's a state highway that runs through there, and the Roan Mountain State Park campground is closed, and some of their other facilities, but you can still access the river and the fish. And I talked to our hatchery manager up in Irwin, and he said they stocked that last week. And unless there's a portion of the river that happens to be close to or inside of one of these other areas, that might be inaccessible, but the rest of it still is. So that one should still be largely, good to go for fishing.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I know there are a lot of, all the state parks are closed, mainly all the main entrances and things like that, but there is some chances of access if you know of a certain road, like you said, that runs through a park near the water or something like that. But
yeah, and of course, I think Mike Jolly mentioned earlier, the Forest Service has closed their campgrounds and their recreation areas and so forth. So you'll want to, if you're planning a trip that's going to involve that, you may want to wait a while.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as I know, and even with TVA included, their boat ramps are largely still open. I was at one down on Parksville Lake last weekend, and I've never seen so many people down there, and that's a Forest Service, Cherokee National Forest managed ramp, and it was still open. A lot of the TVA ones are still, unless they're associated with a recreation area or something, and there's a few of those, like I know Cherokee and Fort Loudon, some of those, you may want to check on those. You can go to TVA's website. On their homepage, there's a coronavirus update, and it lists all their facilities that are affected by these closures.
Okay, that's good to know. Yeah, I knew we'd put out a press release from them on our Facebook and let folks know that some of those rec areas were closed. But that's good to know that maybe some of those ramps are open. So
yeah. If it's not associated with a rec area or something like that, it should be open.
Okay, awesome. Anything else in East Tennessee you want to cover or talk about? I love it up there. It's a great place.
It is. Yeah, I would just say personally, I've been social distancing from the fish from an angling perspective. Unlike a lot of folks, I haven't been able to go yet. So I wish I had a good fishing report to give you, but I've not been able to get out. But hopefully soon I'll get to do that.
Keep doing it. Keep doing the good work y'all do, and appreciate everything y'all do out there, and appreciate all these guys. I'm gonna bring everybody's mic back online. That way, if before we get out of here, unmute everybody. But I appreciate everybody joining in and chatting with us. Frank, thank you for leading the charge as the chief in Nashville, and it's a tough job and it's strange times right now, but we're making it happen and trying to keep the outdoors open for everybody to enjoy. So
yeah, Jason, it's strange for everybody, and I'm pretty proud of the work that our crews are doing. We're continue to work safely, and I want to encourage anyone that does get to go fishing, try to stay local as best you can. It's not a good time to do a 6-hour road trip across the state, and be mindful of other people that are out there. But like I said, I've been at some of these crowded areas now a few different times, and people have been very respectful in places I've been. So I guess that's been good to see. So I appreciate that.
Awesome. Don, anything you want to mention before we get off here? I appreciate you joining us.
Just reiterate what Frank said earlier and just said again, staying local, I think, is key to it right now. And, it's a serious situation gripping our nation. And it's great to hear how the guys have accommodated and are doing the social distancing, even in their work crews. It's, it's important to do that. And it's good to hear that that's taken place. But there is work to be done, and there are those fish it's hard to hit a pause button at a fish hatchery. It's a constant motion. If you've ever been able to visit one, there's always something going on. And so anyway, I tip my hat to the guys out there keeping those operations going and really looking forward. When this is all over and we're able to get back out and enjoy more of the freedoms that we're used to, we'll be able to reap the benefits of a lot of the work that's going on behind the scenes right now. And I appreciate, like Jason said, I appreciate all you guys and all the folks you're working with that are making it happen out there. And again, I'd just like to encourage folks that are listening to, those walls are probably closing in, on you. If you've been sheltering in place and working from home, and there's only so much TV you can watch, or so many things you can search for on the internet, and it's time to get out and maybe just grab the fishing pole and dig some worms. If you don't want to go be around a bunch of people at a place to buy bait, you can or use some plastic baits, whatever you've got, and get out there and enjoy the day with your family.
Yeah, even the simplest gear makes a great fishing trip. So.
That's right.
Watch on our Facebook coming up here pretty soon. We're going to post some fishing 101 type stuff and some ways to grab ways to just show you how to grab a rod and a sinker or a float and some worms and have a good time. So that's coming soon. And anyway, thank you guys. Appreciate you all. We're going to continue to do wildcasts like this for a while if we can, and we've got a few in the can that we can air if something goes wrong with some of these Zoom calls. But we're going to keep trying to maybe do some roundtable discussions like this throughout this strange time, and keep bringing this to the folks out there and on Facebook and YouTube and all kinds of places. So appreciate you all. Don, thank you for being with us today. And
thank you, Jason. Thanks for setting it all up.
Yeah, I guess we'll call it a show, and see you next time on Tennessee WildCast. All right, guys. Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in. Stay connected with TWRA by visiting our website at tnwildlife.org and follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Hey, it's all about Tennessee wildlife. It's what we do. Tennessee WildCast will be on the air again next week. We'll see you then.